Oh,
I know
God.
some people are very upset right now because they look at this and they go, oh my goodness, you're just ruining that tank.
Hey, it's Rounded Rob, and you're hanging out with Jack and Dan.
Hey guys, the saga continues. This is the 4th video installment in the series on this refurbished tank behind us. We have spent quite a bit of time on this. We've just kind of worked on it a little bit at a time, right?
Yeah, we added stuff over time.
I added stuff over time. It's been a really rainy, muggy summer, so a lot of these weekends, we're kind of stuck in the air conditioning in the house these last few weeks, just working on the tanks and stuff. So we're taking our time making it awesome. What are we going to do today, man?
We're going to add the lights, and we're going to add the water and the gravel.
Yeah, we're going to put the gravel in, maybe the under gravel lights if we get time. We're going to put the water in. We're going to put the heaters in. We have an unboxing for some new heaters that's pretty cool. We're also going to show you a little secret. We started this yesterday. We're going to show you that video. We did a little sifting of the gravel, didn't we?
Yes.
A lot of people don't know that they have to sift their gravel with an under gravel filter. We're going to show you why and show you how. And then, of course, you should rinse it. And we're also going to talk about a little bit of a top we're going to be putting on here to cover up the front a little bit more. Maybe we'll even get some water in this guy. You ready?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Joseph's Tropical Tanks.
I'm Daniel.
You are watching Jack and Dan.
So basically what we did is we want to give you guys a little bit of a tip here. We have 75 pounds of black gravel that we're going to be using in this tank, right?
Yes.
Got a great deal, bought 3 bags at once, 25 pounds a bag. Now, a lot of people would say, well, you got to go 1 pound per gallon. Remember, though, this is a tall tank. It has the dimensions of a 75, but it's tall. We don't really need the substrate to be that much deeper, right?
No.
But here's the thing. One of the things about an under gravel filter is, you'll notice down on the bottom of this bucket, after just a few strainers full, that we've got a lot of this kind of smaller stuff. Now, if you've ever looked at gravel, you'll notice it comes in different sizes. There's going to be little pieces and big pieces.
Yes.
One of the things about an under gravel filter is you want to only get the big pieces. Now, I got way down here in the tank to show you. You can see these slots are actually a pretty good size. And so you don't really want those tiny pieces of gravel and sand-like going in here. What we're going to do is we're going to show you when we put it in here how that works. And we'll actually do a shot up from the bottom. You can actually see. So underneath here, you don't want your under gravel filter in this whole area filling up with gravel and sand, because the idea is for this bottom chamber underneath here to grow that bacteria, not to be filled with small gravel. And a lot of people have not been successful in using under gravel filters, and we're telling you one of the main reasons is that you're not sifting through your gravel. So if you sift it, you make sure you only have the large pieces. That's going to fill all this in. All of your debris and all of your waste is going to be filtered through that gravel, through these slots, into your under gravel filter. And all of this area underneath here, underneath this plastic, is then going to hold those microscopic organisms. That is what you want to have. So a lot of people who have not been successful in these type of filters, one of the reasons is because you're not sifting through your gravel. So try to get the largest gravel that you can. Again, you can get some buckets and some colanders like this. It may seem like a little bit of a work, but how long is this going to take you here? 20, 30 minutes?
Probably at the most.
You got the gloves out. You're digging in there now. Look at all that small stuff. And he's only through like half of the first bag. So if you consider all this stuff would be down there basically blocking up and taking up room in your under gravel filter, it's worth the 20 minutes that this is taking, right, kiddo?
Yes.
If it means that for years, you might not have to really maintain a filter. We've had under gravel filters set up for 10 years, didn't have to touch them.
Yes.
So that's one of the reasons, guys. So sift your gravel, okay? Lesson of the day. We're gonna keep the small pieces because we have a future project. Look at all the small pieces dropping off, where we're actually gonna be using black sand, and we can contribute this instead of it going to waste. It'll actually work like sand since it's so small. It'll be contributed to that. Good grip exercise for the hands and forearm, huh?
Yes.
You know, they do this in therapy for people who are going through like rehab from strokes and all kind of things like that. It's actually a really good workout and exercise. We are, of course, going to rinse all of these larger pieces of gravel just to make sure that any dust or any debris is off, because we want to start off with a nice clean slate for this tank. Super work, man. Look at all that in there already. All right, look at all of this basically sand that would have ended up, that's probably more than a cup, that would have ended up pretty much right going through those slots into the other gravel filter, filling up space, possibly clogging areas up. So make sure you do that. Now we are gonna wash this, rinse it, because you should always rinse your gravel. And then we're gonna be able to put it in there tomorrow. The other thing we're gonna finish is some of this top that we're working on. So let's take a look at that. 999.
All right, Ron Burgundy.
1,000. Oh, I actually went through all the way. I don't know if you heard me counting. I just did 1,000. So lunchtime, I'm having a big old bowl of peas. I'm basically doing like a mouthful of peas and a stroke. No, I did not really do 1,000, but this is Lexan. This is 250 times stronger than glass. Again, we got a bunch of this when we were working on your bridge tanks. And we used it for some other tanks to hold the pothos and things like that as lids. The reason we got Lexan is because basically plexiglass was hard to find because everyone was buying plexiglass because of COVID. So while we were there getting some, we got an extra sheet. What we did is we just cut the end of this off, and that'll be a good remnant like we have here for some other things. But we wanted this to be a triangle. So it's 12 by 12. It's going to help to cover that other part that the glass shelves we had are not going to be able to cover. What we're going to do is we're going to try to snap this. I have cut through it very much. This is really, really, really good stuff. Normally, we would probably not spend the money on Lexan, but again, there was a little bit of a shortage, and we were there buying some other things, so we tried it. So, I got my 99-cent clearance Rachel Ray gloves. Where did we get these from?
Marks.
I think it was Marks in the clearance aisle. They had like 1,000 of them on a stack. Always check your clearance aisles. You'd be surprised what you can use for your tanks. These are cooking gloves. We do use them for that, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna snap it. When you're snapping something like this, it's way more flexible than plexiglass. So put some gloves on because your fingers are probably gonna smash together. Let's see how this does. You think it's gonna break clean?
No, I'm not sure.
I don't know how many times I actually cut it, but I am pretty far through. Let's give it a try. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's clean.
Now, it's not gonna snap like plexiglass. You're gonna have to bend it a few times. Plus, it has this little coating on there. What I'm gonna do, actually, I'm just gonna pull, I got pretty far through. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull that coating off. There you go. So that came out really nice, huh?
Yeah.
I used a ruler, just kept going at it. Once you get the first few grooves, you just keep going. These two are gonna go on the other two corners, and the bamboo's gonna be able to stick through the middle. So, what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean this whole workroom up because, of course, you did a really good job, buddy, but you did get quite a bit of gravel on the floor. So we're gonna clean this workroom up. We're gonna wash this gravel. Tomorrow, we're gonna go ahead and finish all of that in that room and get this tank filled up with water and rocking and rolling. All right, in this last video, we made this splash guard and talked about why we're gonna do that the way we're gonna do it. Again, if you haven't seen these videos, check the description. We're gonna have all of them listed, the 3 we did previously. Now, the front here, we got kind of a fun little thing. What do you got over here, man?
It's like a glass triangle.
Yeah, it's like a shelf. When we moved into this house, they had 2 of these in the corner of the one little like rec room area.
Yeah.
We thought they were ugly. We took them down. We used them for tanks before. Those tanks are no longer set up. We changed things. We're actually going to use those now. If you look at this, guys, this is pretty neat. They fit perfectly right in the corner here. It's almost like they were made for it. They fit exactly between, I'm not going to lie, we measured all this to figure it out, but they happen to fit very good with this splash guard all the way up here. Now, it's surprisingly stable. I have to push down very hard on this corner in order to get it to move. That's going to help for one side, still allow the bamboo to come out the middle. And for the other corner here, what do we have here, man?
We have some Lexan triangles.
Right, we have some leftover Lexan. We cut that. We're going to show you how we did that and everything. Jack's going to peel the covering off. If you've never experienced Lexan in your life, it's wonderful stuff. He finds that very satisfying. Yeah. This one is going to go over here in this corner. And as you can see, it fits very well. almost perfectly. It actually goes a little bit over here and over here. Now, we'll probably just let that kind of sit over top of this since it's thin, and this will give kind of like this neat shape where it'll protect some, you know, evaporation and fish from jumping out, because fish don't normally jump right out of the middle, do they?
No.
The sides or something of that nature. So we're going to have the plants coming out here. So between the plants and all this, that'll be covered pretty darn well. Now the pump that we're going to use is the actual original pump that came with this tank. Overall, we plugged it in and it does turn on. It does seem to have some good airflow, but we got a nasty old buildup here in the filter. So we need to take that apart. We may either make our own filter or order a new one. Chances are we're just going to make our own because we've done things like that before, so we're going to do that. We're going to basically wire these two ports together, and out of each one of these ports we'll supply 2 stacks. So we're going to take that apart, see if it works, and then we're also going to unbox these heaters. We got an incredible deal on some heaters from Amazon when we were looking around, and they basically had the 300 waters, 2 for 1. So it was like $20, which honestly $20 is a good deal even for a submersible heater at all. But they had these, I forget what brand this is, never seen it before, CNS submersible heaters, 300 watt. I think they had an oversupply of 300s. They were trying to get rid of them. We're going to check them out. Aquarium heaters are a tough thing, and we've had a lot of luck with them. A lot of people have not. One of the things we do is we try to get them when they're on sale. We try to buy a lot of them so we have backups when we have problems with our heaters, or if we notice them having a lot of, you know, water inside of them, we try to just replace them instead of waiting for them to have issues. 2 300-watt heaters on this tank is going to kind of be overkill. That's exactly what that big, huge tank has. But honestly, it's better to have too much, not enough, and it is always better to have 2. Number one, it's nice and symmetrical, and secondly, you know what? If one goes bad, your fish aren't going to freeze, and especially in places like Cleveland. So we're going to open these up and see how they are. I do like these suction cups. We hate weak suction cups, don't we, kiddo?
Yes, that's annoying.
These are nice. These are nice and big. I like that they have a little pull tab on it. We're going to try these out. So we're going to get these in there and get them going. Of course, don't ever plug your heater in before you put water in, right?
Yes.
Bad news. We also do normally put our heaters very low so that when we're doing water changes, we can take the water down without worrying having to turn them off and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to get these guys all situated. That's going to be the first step here. Okay, before we get these in, we're just going to talk about 2 awesome things. Number one, love this big, huge, twisty gauge at the top. I hate when I'm trying to reach in the top of the aquarium and turn it, and you can't get to it. Isn't that nice, kiddo?
Yeah.
And it's pink and bright, and it's got nice little things on
And
it.
it's easy to see the numbers. Look.
Yeah, very easy to see them. I got to tell you, for what these cost, this blew me away. Normally, just one 300-watt heater could cost $50 to $60 we've seen. That's what we paid for the ones in there. Now, they are very good, and they are very big, and they have lasted quite a few years with no issues, and we'll see if these can stand up. But these were quite amazing. You know, time will tell, but love that handle, love the gauge. Hopefully these last a while. Okay, so we do like to put our heaters in the corner. You got to make sure they're not too close to your stack. You don't want to melt your stack, but you also want to be able to fit that magnet in between, so definitely leave a little space. This is why we drilled the hole right in the corner of this, so we could bring that right on through there. And the other holes, of course, for the air tubes and that. But so we got one over there, one over there. All right, Jess gonna take an old fork here. We're gonna pop this off. If we can get it. It's probably been on there. Oh, there we go. Let's see what that. Oh, that's pretty wicked.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. We can wash it. It's not horrible. Must have been in a pretty clean place. Either that or the gentleman changed it. Chances are we're just gonna put like an old t-shirt or an old rag in here, which is what we do normally. Cut up an old washcloth in a circle, put it in there, and then just replace it every now and then. It's really not that hard to do. We've talked about that before in previous videos. So we're gonna clean this up, do that, fire this baby up, see if it can blow all the way down these stacks in this tall tank. So there we go, you just trace that. Got an old white towel here. This is just an old hand towel we had. We could probably get 100 of these filters out of this thing. So we're gonna cut it, throw it in there, and it's completely free. All right, there you go. Brand new filter, pop that guy on there. And again, you can make hundreds of those out of an old towel. We'll keep that in the old fish closet. We actually had one, we got done using it. It was sitting around for a few years, so we recruited a new one. Pops right back on there, doesn't it? There you go. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what you use. You might have to change it a little more often. If you start to notice your pump getting hot, which you should check once in a while, or if you start to notice it, bogging down or rattling or whatever, then just, change the filter. It's one of the first things to look for. All right, first thing we're gonna do is cut off a little piece of tubing. We've got a lot of these little remnants sitting around left over from previously. We're gonna put one on. Then we're gonna put a check valve on each one. The check valves are on there. Some of them are gonna have an in and out type of thing. If you're not sure which way to go, usually the valve will be on the side of the, blowing out direction. The other thing you could do is just blow in one side. It's gonna be real easy to blow. That's the side that gets attached to the pump. If it's real hard to blow, that's the part that goes out here. All right, then you put another extension on and you put your T on. This is gonna branch off to 2 stacks. This will branch off to 2 stacks. Now, there are little manifold type of things they make, and we've shown them in other videos. And if it gets to where, for some reason, one of your stacks is way more than another stack, you can put something like that on there. Very simple to do, and they're very inexpensive. But we just happen to have these. We're just gonna give it a try. So we're gonna plug this baby in and put the gravel in. All right, so all 4 of those clear tubes coming down are gonna go into here. This is gonna go under here. The other thing we're gonna do while we're messing around here is we're gonna hook up one of these little remote switches. We forgot that we had this. We had background lights on Jack's tank before we put the meteorite lights on. We have the meteorite lights on a timer now. And we forgot we had this. It works really well. We're actually gonna hook that up to the background lights on here. Right now we have them on a little foot pedal since it's kind of back here. But we're just gonna hook them up to the remote because we forgot we had this. All right, got that hooked up to all 4 cables, not too hard. A little bit of a whistling sound. Sometimes that whistling can come from the check valves or the tubing. Could also come from the air coming down here. We're not sure. Sometimes once you get water in it, that'll be better. We're gonna wait and see. We got the remote hooked up to that. We're gonna see if it works. Go ahead and hit that remote over there, kiddo. We're gonna see if it works with the doors closing that. Go ahead and click it. Oh, look at that. Yeah, you gotta kind of point it toward the tank. Now again, for some reason, these LEDs are not showing up in the screen of the camera. It's like weird, like if I move it, but holding this remote here, it's working real good. Even being underneath the cabinet like that. So that's super cool. So we can have this remote kind of up here on the table, turn those nighttime lights on anytime we want. So I'm glad we got that situated. Okay, now we're gonna fill this guy up with gravel. What we're gonna do, technically speaking, we could fill it up with gravel and then put this vase in here, or this pot in here. But what we're gonna do is, just because we're filling it up fresh and new, we're gonna take a little Tupperware guy like this. We're gonna put it down here on top of this little guy here. And we're gonna fill that up, and then we're gonna remove it, and that whole center is gonna be filled with gravel. Just gonna kind of gently pour some in each one of these pots. And this one. And that's really all it's gonna take. Don't put too much inside of there. Actually gonna take some of that out of there. And then we're gonna start pouring it around the outside of them. Okay, so we have the 2 pots that are gonna go on top full of gravel. Those are gonna be for the plants. We got a nice deep substrate in here, covering everything up. This came out just the way we wanted. Nice and centered, so you can see there's gravel around there on the inside and the outside, but not down the little hurricane there that we cut in the last video. There's the other one. So what'll happen, if we get a chance in this video, if not the next one, we put the little LED puck light underneath the stand. It's gonna shine right up through all the holes. We'll have the light come out. This guy will be on top, and that's where the plant will go. In fact, we're gonna put those in there right now. All right, so that's gonna fit in there just like that. So now you can see how that is. And the light's gonna shine up in the inside. When we get that in place, this pot will be an awesome little home. Fish will be able to go in there. It'll be lit up. It'll change colors and all that. The plants will be coming up out of the top and then out of here. So I think the next step is let's get this baby filled with water, huh? It's kind of exciting. It's been sitting around in the garage for quite a few months, almost a year. Finally putting water in this thing. We did test it. We did put water in it. We just didn't do it like officially yet. So let's get our siphon. Okay, so just kind of going nice and slow, filling that up. Gotta be honest, I'm a tiny bit nervous. I mean, we have had water in this, but you know, we know the stand works, but it was in pretty bad shape. We reinforced it. I mean, it's like a trial by fire, right?
Yep.
I mean, what are you gonna do? But we'll end up evening all this gravel out and letting this fill up and everything. It is nice. It does look like the pump is putting air already in those stones. However, when you start to fill this up with water, it may lose a lot of pressure, you know, because they've got to push all that water down. But for now, it does appear that it is working pretty decently.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's coming together. We're just filling this down from the laundry room as usual. Got the big, huge, long python, goes through the whole house. It is incredibly nice having the laundry room in the first floor, isn't it, man?
Yes.
Now, at the old house, we had the laundry room downstairs. We had one of those old chutes, like in Grandma's house in the old house, and we used to put the thing down the chute into the laundry room and then, you know, run the tanks upstairs through the laundry chute, which actually is a great idea. It worked out pretty well, but so this is very nice. These are some of the sculptures we're thinking of putting in here. In addition to that, we've got this big, awesome old red piece of slate. This was in a 20-gallon that someone threw away, and we have that 20-gallon for the turtles right now. They're kind of hanging out in that when they swim and eat, and we've just been doing water changes on it because they pretty much hang out at my office and outside nowadays. That's a cool thing we might end up using. This is a huge kind of piece of quartz that was also in that same tank. Almost looks like part of a geode, but it's not quite crystallized. That's a neat one. And again, nice against the black rocks would be the white contrast. I really like this one though. Remember about, I think it was a year and a half or maybe longer, we went to that Benjamin Franklin store.
Oh, yeah. And he had like a bunch of fish and old stuff.
And he had a Neptune cellar down the basement. And we did get a tank from him, which we have not used yet, but we will be using coming up. A 15-gallon tall, very unique setup. And this was in his store. He gave this to us. I bought that tank for, I think, $15. He had a hermit crab set up in there in the store for like 50 years.
Yeah.
It's the same tank. And we're going to maybe end up using that tank. But he had this in it, and he said, you know what, you can have it. And it's a really cool, awesome rock that has lots of nooks and crannies for little guys and a lot of character. And it is white and will look cool against the black gravel. Also, we might put that as a centerpiece. And we thought about possibly on top or behind it was this guy, which we recently got. Stopped by an old pet shop in Lakewood called Pets General. Been there a long time. Tiny little pet shop. Like not even half the size of Best in Pets where we go. But they did have some eucalyptus, and this has been soaking in that sink for a whole entire month, and it is finally sinking. And a lot of people say, well, eucalyptus has oils that are bad and everything, but this has been dried out and cured and soaked. All of those things are out of it. It is the water is completely clear now, and it is finally sinking. We have this in a bucket because we're using the sink right now. That is most likely going to be a centerpiece. We might do something creative like putting plants on it and stuff, tying it on there. That's going to be in the middle, maybe to a rock, maybe something different. These guys are going to be what's coming out of the pots. We ordered extra to come later when we ordered new ones for the big tank. Now let's go check on this and see how it's doing. We'll show you. About a month ago, before getting those, we got these. There it is. It's filling up. We got these to replace some of the ones that got messed up with a flukeworm medication. And look at how fast they have grown already. They are already almost touching the ceiling. And so those will get trimmed in an upcoming video, probably in a couple of weeks. And some of those are going to go in these holes. So we're going to have the big bamboo coming out of the middle. The little ones coming out of this hole, these holes here. And look at these. These are about ready to be trimmed. These were some extra ones that we had that we just put as a centerpiece. Look at all the roots that grew in here. And look at this water, how crystal clear it is, because that bamboo pulls all that nasty stuff out of there. And we just have to top that off once in a while. So if you're looking for a great centerpiece for your table, of course we put some flowers in front of it once in a while. Great centerpiece for your table, get some of this bamboo. It will grow all the way up to the ceiling. We have to cut it pretty soon. It's gonna go into the fan here, isn't it?
Yes.
Maybe the fan will trim it for us. But anyway, so that some of those when they get too long. Now when we trim these, we've showed this in previous videos, they will grow out of other areas and you'll end up with multiple sprouts out of these coils, and it's very, very pretty and beautiful, very cheap, very easy. Those only cost about $4 to $5 a piece when you buy a bunch of them at once. So those extra trimmings will go in here along with some of our other tanks. We also sometimes put them in with the bromeliads, like this one here. You can see there are some ones in with the bromeliads here, and we sometimes stick them in there and they grow in there too. And we have a planter on our patio and things like that. It's early in the day, so this light isn't even on yet in this tank. But we're filling this up and we'll see where we go from here. These are a very simple little LED light. We got this years ago on Lowe's, and it has 3 ports and 3 little LED lights. We're only gonna be using 2. We'll just kind of stick this one away in the old fish tank closet, right? We always keep everything in there. And basically you just put these right to the bottom of the glass, right where we put those little hurricanes, and you glue them up and you plug it in. And there's a little remote and we're gonna put it on there. So those will go right here onto, see that little hurricane? Glue right onto there. And that's why we did it the way we did. And you can see that pot right up through there. So we're gonna go ahead and put those on while this is filling. And there's the other one. And then there'll be a separate little remote for that. Okay, so we got it hooked up really easy. Jack's got the remote. Go ahead and hit that. Let's see if it works. Yeah, totally awesome. So you can make it any color you want. You know, you could do whatever. And you just gotta, the only thing is with these, you gotta make this little eye kind of be able to stand out. So we're gonna figure out a place for this. Overfilling the top of the pots. That's George. That's what he does when mommy comes home, huh?
He sounds like he's getting hurt, but he's not. That's
He
just
sounds
how
like someone's
sounds.
beating the death out of him.
Yeah, he does just how he sounds.
He freaks out when Pamela comes home. Listen to
Don't
him.
worry, guys. Don't call Peter. He's fine. He just cries a lot.
Sometimes we're worried our neighbors will think that we're beating him to death because that's how he sounds.
He cries like that. He just does.
He misses mommy. It's funny, isn't it? But yeah, so that's completely under. All right, I can't wait to see what it looks like with these lights. So I think there's enough room actually. We're gonna kind of screw this dude right here so this little thing kind of hangs out. All right, guys, that was super easy. We just basically mounted it with 2 small little nails, put a little thumbtack in here, so the little eye is just barely sticking out. Jack was able, sitting all the way at the dining room table with the remote, to click it. Look how that came out, guys. That is so awesome. I can't wait to see it at night. All we did is take those 2 lights, bring them right out of there, and just taped them. He's got it on disco. Just taped them right underneath here, one little clear piece of Gorilla Tape to those little hurricanes. One there, one there. Now they're shining up through. Isn't that super awesome? That's gonna be such a nice effect. We'll be able to change the colors. I mean, it's broad daylight right now, but you can see just how cool that's gonna be. Whether those nighttime ones are on or not, I mean, wow. Lots of awesome effects here, guys. That was almost too easy. Just in the time this was filling with water, we got those hooked up. And I am thoroughly impressed, and so is Jack. He can't believe. Look at how powerful this.
Spewing out the bubbles.
I mean, it's not even, it's coming over the top, and the water's 2/3 to 3/4 of the way up. Very impressive little pump. It does make a bit of a hum. We might put it on top of a rag or something, but it stopped whistling as we thought it would. That is an incredible old pump. What is that, a Whisper 300?
It's really big.
I mean, honestly, when you close the doors and everything, look at that, how cool this is gonna be. This is gonna be so neat. All right, let's fill it up the rest of the way. I'm so excited. Okay guys, so we got the tops on. That worked out really well. Got a nice little shape to it. Again, it's not completely occlusive. It does let the bamboo out, but really neat. We're gonna have 4 coming out of each side, kind of like a, you know, star kind of formation. 4 on that side, 4 on this side. These guys have amazing roots. Just sitting in the sink in there, they grew tons of roots. Now, obviously, like we've talked about before, the pleco will probably eat those roots off other than the ones down here, but they will remain as shafts through there even if they kind of eat those hairs off. And these will grow really huge and tall, just like the ones over there and the ones over here. We did take these 2 that were really tiny and put them over here. The nice part is having a little reserve like this kind of themes the whole room, kind of has the, you know, bamboo on the table. We can kind of, you know, pick or choose. If we have one doing bad, we can swap it out with one over here or that tank or whatever. So we got lots of bamboo going on here. Probably gonna add a little bit more gravel to these. We kind of underestimated that, but there's so much on the bottom, I might just scoop some up, put it in the top. These shafts, look at how much they are chugging. I mean, just look at that. That's crazy. We thought this pump wasn't gonna be strong enough. I mean, these guys are just cranking. Doesn't that look cool with those 4 tubes of air? And I'll tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna fill this up the rest of the way, turn off all the lights, see what all these night lights look like and everything. And this really, really is turning into something awesome. We did plug in the heaters, by the way, but they're not turning on because we use pretty warm water to fill this up. We always use warm water that first time, just kind of get things kind of cranking. All right, Jack's hitting up the old magnet a little bit. We're just getting off the air bubbles. It's looking magnificent. We are blown away by how it's coming out here. We have the top lights off. Those background lights and those under gravel lights coming through the vase, or the, you know, the pots came out awesome. Plenty of gravel on the bottom, digging it. I think we're gonna add a little bit more to these, maybe a little bit more. We didn't put in quite as much as we thought we did. Bamboo's gonna look awesome when it starts growing. And then probably gonna take that piece of wood that's soaking. We're gonna let that soak a little bit more and ultimately make some sort of kind of centerpiece here in between these 2 pumps. Jack also had an idea. Remember this thing, man?
Yes.
Show him this thing. Where do we get that?
I think we got it in March, right?
Mark's clearance rack. Put it together real quick so I can see it again. It's like a fold out little pot thing. It was on the clearance rack for like 99 cents. Open it up, show him. I'll reach it up here, it's hard to reach. He was saying how it kind of fits. Look at how it kind of fits like right there. How cool is that?
That's pretty neat.
Turn that top light on.
Kind of like a bridge.
Isn't that neat? Turn that top light on again right behind you, kiddo. And look at that, how that would be kind of back there. We could put even more plants in there. See how they have little plastic containers in there? We could put like more plants in there going up. We could also hang something on the wall. There was a hole there from something that was hanging. We could hang something on the wall. We might put that with more plants in it, would look cool.
Or we could put like little characters on there and make it look like it's a bridge kind of.
Little dudes on there or something.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? It's so cool. But the wood theme really looks cool. I mean, it's cool how it sits. And then, of course, there's going to be more bamboo coming out of here. It's just not ready to be trimmed yet. What did you want to show us?
I want to show you, since we use black gravel and I mean, yeah, it's kind of sparkly. But
Let me turn this light off over here real quick.
The background's kind of black too, so if you take these off and you put this on the way to the brightness, hold up. That's really cool.
The disco, yeah. We don't really do that with the fish, but it's
No.
kind of cool now. Got a little light coming in the front door there, but yeah, that's really coming along. Let me get like a side view here.
I really like it.
Now there is one more thing that we need to do here today before we're ready to move on, before we do any more fish or anything. And what is that? You remember?
Yeah, no, I don't remember.
The bucket of doom.
The bucket of doom.
Let's go get it. And what, pray tell, Jack, is the bucket of doom? Well, in the last video we did a week or 2 ago, we showed cleaning some of the other tanks, the sponge filters in particular, right?
Yes.
A lot of people, when they have a brand new tank like this, they go, oh, it's so amazing and clear and wonderful. Well, it'll only stay that way for a very short amount of time. You have to introduce microbiome and a microbiome, okay?
Yes, like germs and not germs, but like bacteria and other
Right.
stuff.
Good bacteria. And we want to get this in here. We want it to get filtered through this gravel, start to grow, go into that under gravel filter. And again, that's what's underneath here, is that underneath that, you see that big grid of space. We want stuff to go up under there, and we want it to grow, and we want this to form a culture and what they called cycle, right?
Yep.
Well, we're going to put some of this awesome stuff in there. Do you want to have the honors?
No, I don't want to go near that.
Chad doesn't like it. I'm going to pour a little bit in there. I'm going to stir it up a little bit. So this is from quite a few filters. This is a large tank though. What we're going to do is we're just going to introduce some, not necessarily going to put the whole thing in. We're just going to slowly pour some of this in.
Oh,
I know
God.
some people are very upset right now because they look at this and they go, oh my goodness, you're just ruining that tank. And we've talked about this in other videos, and we have done this in other videos when we've set up new tanks. Put about half of that in. That was quite a bit.
That looks kind of cool. Like,
And
kind of looks like smoke.
yeah, and what's happening is that's going to get sucked down in there and through that gravel, start to grow underneath these stacks where all this air is shooting up. It's going to pull that water through that gravel. It's going to be totally awesome. Might actually put a little bit more in. All right, there we go, guys. We made a lot of progress on this time, didn't we?
Yes.
I mean, it's in the house, it's filled up. We got both sets of lights going, well, actually 3 sets of lights going on it. We have the main sculptures in, the filter is chugging, we got that old pump working. We're gonna decide what we wanna do with the centerpiece and up here and everything, but that's just gonna be things. Now, next time, we did get this culture going, so
It's all going to settle in about an hour.
literally in a couple hours it'll probably be clear, but we're gonna let it go for a while. In about 2 weeks, we're going to introduce some of the guys that we have here. The Candy Cane Tetra from your tank are going in here.
Yeah.
Some of the Plecos we talked about. The Farlowella. The Royal Farlowella is going to go in here. The Vampire Plecos are going to go in here. And then we're going to be looking at some angels. We've been wanting angels for a long time. My first angel when I was about 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old, had my first tank in a dining room at Grandma and Grandpa's house. Had a big old angel named Angel Gabriel. Haven't really had angels since. So we're going to be looking to put some angels in here. They're going to fill up this whole top area. It's going to be a beautiful tank. Guys, thanks so much for going on this journey with us. This is the 4th part of this series of refurbishing this old tank that would have ended up in a big old landfill probably.
Yeah,
it was
probably.
headed there. It was nasty. If you haven't seen the other videos, we'll put the link in the description. Check out the playlist. It's come a long way. This is what we really love to do. It's one of the major things we do on this channel is refurbishing old aquariums and having them do fun things like this. And it's a fun project. We love beautifying our home. We are looking at, very soon, another one going to go there as well. So make sure you hit the bell and subscribe so you don't miss out. And we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.